Russell Wilson's team is now putting out desired team locations if he was to be traded. He said, hey, listen, there's a couple places you can go. Jets, Saints, Dolphins, Raiders. These are just off the top of our head. Some other places as well. This is just like the Deshaun Watson camp that's putting out desired destinations. The Dolphins camp has to be pumped that both Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson are saying, hey, we'll go down to 305 MIAO. We will go see Rick Ross sling some things down there if we have to. The interesting part about all of this, with Deshaun Watson, the Houston Texans, Diana Rossini reported this morning, are not answering phone calls. Don't want to hear it. Deshaun Watson just put out a tweet that said, loyalty is everything. Okay, so I wonder who he's talking about, probably Cal McNair. With Russell Wilson, though, we have been told now that 3 firsts is the starting asking price. Now, is that from the Seahawks? Is that from Russell's team that's trying to put the narrative out there that, yeah, the Seahawks are on board with this? What is it? Now there's reports coming out that Russell Wilson stormed out of a meeting with coaches this past season.
Not Russ.
Not Russ.
I will stop saying go Hawks. What? I will.
Are you serious, Russ?
He did not, actually. We said that he did. That was actually debunked by a Seahawk fan who said we are the worst show going because of the way we speak about the Seahawks. But what I'm telling you, Russell Wilson's team, Team 3, chef, landscaper, body guru, PR person, agent person, marketing person, I'd assume Sierra's part of Team 3.
Music video coordinator.
Music video, Halloween costume coordinator. Team 3 now is getting very loud about, hey, we don't want this to happen. And I guess the signs, just like Tommy fucking Foxborough with New England, behind the scenes, it seems like the signs are now being released. After the Super Bowl, we saw Russell Wilson down at the Super Bowl alongside Roger Goodell. He watched the game. He saw what was happening on the field, gives a call to his quarterback coach and then to also the Seahawks personnel and says, hey, I want to talk about what we're going to do with this offensive line. I just saw what the Bucks and the Chiefs got going on. Patrick Mahomes running for his goddamn life. Looked a lot like what I was doing. People are saying, well, the Chiefs will never be able to win without that offensive line, and I'm asked every single year basically to do it. I assume Russell had some questions. It is alleged that the Seahawks did not give him the answer that he either wanted, expected, or thought he deserved. So it feels like behind the scenes in Seattle, there's been some tension brewing from one of the greatest football players to ever play football and the franchise that drafted him late and then watched him grow into one of the greatest football players of all time. This is eerily similar to Tom Brady's situation in New England. We all know that Tom ended up being a free agent. The free agent frenzy happened. If they're asking for 3 number ones, let's assume a lot of teams are going to be interested in Russell Wilson. And if Russell Wilson goes to your team, just like the Seattle Seahawks have been, you're immediately in contention no matter what the roster looks like. Now, DK Metcalf, absolute stud. Lockett, absolute stud. I'm not saying that you can just put him on a trash team and they're going to be good. They have good players over there. But if you put him on a team that's ready to go, maybe the Dolphins, maybe he gets over there to the Jets is an interesting one because that would just strictly be because you're in New York, I guess. I don't know. Here's the thing about the hashtag Seattle Seahawks. It's alleged now $39 million dead cap space if he was to be traded. $26 million of that can be pushed to 2022 if he's traded post June 1. They could designate that. Is there anything real happening there? Mark Rodgers came out allegedly and said he hasn't demanded, but these are 4 places he'll go. Yeah. How do the Seahawks feel about this? And is this anywhere near real, rap sheet?
It's real in that Russell Wilson and the Seahawks do have an issue. Like, the relationship is not great, and it's not been great for some time. I mean, if you think about the way this season happened, you know, they were humming along, their offense was going great, and they got to kind of week 8, and they started running the ball, they started trying to protect the ball, and Russell Wilson stopped being happy with the offense because they stopped letting him cook, for lack of a better way of saying it.
Took him out of kitchen.
I mean, yeah.
They took him out of the kitchen.
Oh, I would just – hold on. Did I mute? Can you guys hear me all right?
Oh, yeah. You sound amazing.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so you get to week 8. The offense changes. Then this year they go throughout the year. They kind of struggle toward the end, obviously lose in the playoffs. And then, you know, it's clear that Russell Wilson wants more of a say. They go through the offensive coordinator process. He does have a say in that. So he did kind of a little bit help pick the offensive coordinator. That is good. But there's some issues there that they need to fix as far as the direction of the team. And so teams started calling, and this is something I reported during the Super Bowl. A couple teams called. Seattle said, get out of here. Now more than 10 teams have called. Okay, so there's clearly interest. Here are the two main issues. One, the cap hit is enormous. It's not something you can't survive. If you're going to completely rebuild, like for instance, if you're going to trade him and then draft a quarterback in the first round, you can deal with it, but it's not ideal. So the cap hit is enormous to trade Russell Wilson now. Second of all, Pete Carroll's 70 years old. There's no way he wants to rebuild. It is in the best interest of everyone for this thing to work. That is where we are.
But is it going to be able to come back from this? I feel like we've never seen Russell Wilson act like this, especially publicly. I can imagine he's been frustrated for a long time. Are they going to be able to mend this, not only with the coaching staff, but the players too? That O-line can't feel great about it.
No, you're right. Everything you said is true. Contrast to what Pat usually says, which is kind of like some true, some not. But everything you said is true. Okay. We've seen this before. We haven't seen it from Russell kind of out front like this, but we've seen Tom Brady and the Patriots have a rift. There's been some times with Aaron Rodgers, our good friend of the show, who's not been that happy with his current team, the Green Bay Packers.
What are you hearing?
Other quarterbacks speak out, and they've gotten it fixed. I would think that this would be similar.
So Shefty had the original tweet about that said that Wilson has not demanded a trade, and then he deleted that tweet.
Schefter did?
Yeah, and re-put out, Russell Wilson has told the Seahawks he wants to play in Seattle. If a trade were considered, he would only consider these teams. So maybe he did demand or ask. Or,
No. Do we have the tweet? Can we put it back
in
up?
the group.
What happened? You see, what had happened was Schefter puts that tweet out. Seattle Seahawks called Russell Wilson's Mark Rodgers and say, why are we saying that you haven't demanded a trade or whatever? And Mark Rodgers probably says, no, I said he wanted to be a Seahawk, but if these teams were to do that. Adam Schefter, only part he deleted is Wilson didn't demand trade. Does removing the part mean he possibly did demand trade? Adam Schefter tweet, Russell Wilson has told the Seahawks he wants to play in Seattle, but if a trade were considered, the only teams he would go to are the Cowboys, Saints, Raiders, and Bears. His agent, Mark Rodgers, said to ESPN. The original said, Seahawks QB Russell Wilson has not demanded a trade. His agent, Mark Rodgers, told ESPN Wilson has told the Seahawks he wants to play in Seattle, but if a trade were considered, Shefty! Shefty! He just said that. Hey, I will not say that he demanded a trade, but I will put two tweets back to back that leave one omitted sentence that sure sounds like Russell Wilson walked in there, team alongside of him, Sierra, in the Busta and Missy Elliott costumes with all their gurus and chiropractors and said, get me the fuck out of here. I want to play here, but get me the fuck out of here. Wow. Interesting. Or this is all...
No.
Does it smell like...
No.
Is this all bullshit right now? No. This is all bullshit. No. Interesting. What do you think, AJ?
Why don't you send Team 3 a text and get an answer just like you did from JJ?
All right. Could you imagine if I just FaceTime Russell Wilson?
Hey, Russ.
There are a couple notables, okay, that I would feel comfortable enough with my relationship that if something like this was happening, where I would FaceTime them live, and as soon as they answer, I would go, we are live. Hey, we are live. Just everything you were about to say. Is that bullshit? Turns out Russell Wilson's not one of them. Well, so he's not one of those guys that I would do that to.
Would be awesome to gauge how the punters are feeling over there. Just because if Russ leaves, their job, their workload might be expanding a little
Michael
bit.
Dixon, although I have great respect for him, I believe we are friends. I've never really talked to him in real life. I don't think.